Thank you all so much for joining us at Meadows Conference Center. This is such a beautiful facility for us to host these meetings. So we're really appreciative of them allowing us to be here. So I wanted to introduce myself. My name is Nico Murillo, and I'm the chair of Texans for Safe Access. And I want to real quickly recognize our board members in the room, just so we know who they are as I'm speaking about some of the activities we're working on. So if the board can just raise their hand. Yeah, so here they are here. Of course, y'all know Christy and Sherry are our nurse educators that are giving the wellness checks. Amanda Munson works as our educator. Lisa Sewell works as our secretary. Pilar Angel works as our communications coordinator, and then Dalton over here is our social media guru. So thank you all again for coming. Texans for Safe Access, we are part of a national organization based out of Washington, D.C. that has over 40 chapters and over 100,000 active members. And so we really wanted to bring this chapter to Texas to represent the medical patients that unfortunately lose their voice in this mission. So ASA was founded in 2002 by a medical cannabis patient named Stephanie Schreer, and she brought it to the states as a vehicle for patients to advocate for the acceptance of cannabis as therapeutic medicine. And so our organization is made up of patients, caretakers, activists, and also medical professionals and also business professionals. So we do that to bring everybody together to promote safe and legal access to plant medicine. Some of our chapter goals include working with our community through educational events, outreach, and working with other nonprofits to help bring more awareness to our cause. Now, patient testimonials, if y'all haven't been to our website, those are at the core of our chapter message. And so those are a small part there where you can have a small window into the lives of cannabis patients. And so we encourage anybody that has a testimonial to share to reach out to us. And so I want to go ahead and call the meeting to order. Can I get a second motion?
Second.
Thank you. I want to go ahead and approve the meeting minutes from December. Unless somebody's contesting those will be added to record. As of now, our financial report from 1/3/20, we have an operating account budget of $644.41. That's with an in of $336.39 and an out of $26.48. $236 of that came from the GoFundMe donations, which is our campaign that highlights the Zartler story, Mark and Christy Zartler, and their journey with their daughter Kara that uses cannabis as medicine. And so I'm going to move straight into the administration part of, the introduction, who we are, the national team, what we believe in. So, get my clicker here. So what we believe in. Ensuring safe and legal access to cannabis means international and federal and state laws and regulations recognize cannabis as a legal medicine. That medical professionals can recommend medical cannabis. Patients and their caretakers can have the information they need to make educated choices about medical cannabis therapies. Patients and medical professionals can incorporate a diverse group of products and delivery methods to create required personalized regimen treatments. So what that really means is that we need more access to the restrictions that are on the teacup right now, and I'll go through what those are. We need edible, we need smokable, and we need home grows, and we'll talk more about that. Patients can trust labels on products that medicines are free of pesticides and contaminants, and the most important for myself is that medical cannabis treatments are covered by insurance. So that's what we believe it is. So next we'll go over the Texas Compassionate Use Program. The Texas Compassionate Use Program is overseen by the Department of Public Safety, and it defines our program as low THC cannabis as a plant cannabis sativa L and any other part of the plant or any compound, manufacture, salt, derivative, mixture, preparation, resin, or oil of the plant that contains not more than 0.5% of weight of THC. And so the current conditions you can see are epilepsy, seizure disorders, MS, spasticity, ALS, autism, terminal cancer, and incurable neurodegenerative diseases. And all of those can be defined on the DPS's website. There's certain conditions that do fall underneath each one. So the current forms of medication that are allowed are sublingual applicators, gel capsules, and oral tinctures. So that's all that's left. And so that goes back to what we believe in. We want more in the portfolio. We want edible products. We want a vibrant home grow program. We want flower and vapable products allowed as well. So currently there are 3 dispensing organizations, and only one of the dispensaries is able to deliver the prescriptions. The rest you have to pick up, and you can go to their facilities, see what their operating hours are. So Satira, pick up only. Florent, which used to be Consortium, pick up only, and then the last one, Compassionate Cultivation, which is delivery and pickup. And so those 3 licensee applicants can't suffice the needs of Texas right now according to the DPS, and so I would anticipate those are going to be the only 3 dispensing organizations for a while. So, how do you qualify as a patient? First, you have to be a permanent resident of Texas, and the patient has to be diagnosed with one of the conditions that we went over. Also, the qualified physician determines the risk of the medical use of low THC by a patient is reasonable in light of the potential benefit. So that just gives physicians the right to determine what you need. Physicians who qualify underneath the Compassionate Use Act and would like to prescribe low THC cannabis have to register through CURT. And so CURT is the program that all patient portals will go through, as well as physician portals, to see who's going to be, to see what doctors are going to be participating in the program. So how do you register that? You find a doctor that's in the program. And so the best way to do that is this website here. It's on the DPS's webpage. Under physician search, you can do a direct search of your physician, and if they're not on there, and you have a specialist for your condition, if it's covered, then you need to ask that physician to join the program and take any of the necessary documentation or research that would support your cause, and also give them the information to join the program if they choose to do so. And so the CURT stands for Compassionate Use Registry of Texas. And again, you can go on there and see if your physician is part of that program or not yet. Sorry about that. How to talk to your doctor. You're just going to be forthright because there's nothing illegal about discussing cannabis with your doctor, and those are protected by our First Amendment rights. Doctors are accustomed to us bringing in ideas and concerns about our treatment options and preferences, and cannabis therapeutics should be no different. And your doctor may be unfamiliar with these and hesitant, so just bring the science and the documentation to show them so they can make that choice for themselves. And so ASA, what I love about our national team is that ASA gives resources to patients, and it's free to those patients if you go to their website. And right now, if you go to their resource tab, it's actually on our website. If you go to our website, it'll take you directly to theirs as well. But underneath the resource tab, you'll find condition-based booklets and other research material pertaining to the use of medical cannabis for certain medical conditions. And so each of those tabs, you can go in and it's arthritis, autism, cancer, HIV, and so on and so on. And you can click on that link and it'll show you research that's attached to that. So I really love that about the national team, because it's giving resources to the patients without the expectation of something in return. And I think that the information for this medicine is so powerful. That's how we all need to be, is that this information, if we give it to the people and allow them to heal on their own choice, then we can't be viewed as taking this medicine as our own personal gain and keeping the information from people actually healing. So Your doctor may not understand the current law, so you may consider bringing them a copy of the DPS's ruling that you can get straight off that website. And again, if you qualify for any of those conditions that I mentioned and you have a specialist, then to talk to your doctor about joining the program. So again, I wanted to go over the conditions so it was just fresh on y'all's mind, because I'm going to show y'all what is not included on our bill. So again, epilepsy, seizures, MS, spasticity, ALS, autism, terminal cancer, and incurable neurodegenerative diseases. The call to action, this would be for all of us in the room and everybody you know, is that we need an all-inclusive medical program. It's very restrictive, and unfortunately, because of the cost of the medicine, it only allows a select few to be able to afford it. And so we also need whole plant access. A low THC bill is not going to help all patients, and we need THC. And so yeah, we need higher THC. We need a vibrant home grow program. You know, regulated medicine is expensive, and it's not accessible to people that are inside of small towns in our big state. So as we're thinking of, you know, our family members that live on the end of county roads, how does that person access this medicine? And it's in many cases, patients are living on fixed incomes, and they don't have either the vehicle or the money or the resources to get to this medicine. So a home grow program really solves that need, because you can grow it in your backyard, and you can also grow it strain specific to your condition. So we feel strongly about our medical program having our medical Texas Compassionate Use program having a vibrant home grow program attached to it. So that is very important to us, and we need your help, of course. And so how can you help us? The first thing is patient testimonials. As I mentioned, these are at the forefront of our chapter, and we started this chapter with great leaders, Mark and Christy Zartler. Mark and Christy, can y'all raise y'all's hand, please? I don't know where Christy went.
Christy made it hot.
Yeah, okay. Sorry. There's Christy. So Mark and Christy, I met several years ago, almost 5 years ago, during my time at the Capitol, and I met their daughter, Kara, and heard their story. It was very compelling, and as we talk about patient outreach, and we decided to bring this chapter to Texans, we really wanted to highlight how this started and why we got into it. So I wanted to talk a little bit about their daughter, Kara. And many of y'all know this story, many of y'all have seen the video, but for those who haven't, it's a very compelling video that I'm going to show, and emotional too. So Kara is a 19-year-old native Texan who suffers with severe autism. She's nonverbal. She hits herself repetitively in the face, hard. She's been evaluated hitting herself over 3,000 times in a 6-hour period. THC cannabis stops her self-aggressive episodes and stabilizes her mood. And her treatments are illegal here, and Mark and Christy break the law to help their daughter. So Kara currently qualifies for the Teacup program, but under the autism condition, but she needs high THC to help with the aggressive behaviors. And so unfortunately, the medicine in the Teacup isn't going to be effective for someone like Kara. And so we still advocate for the whole plant access and higher THC levels. So I want to show you her video. So as you can see in the video, Mark was using a vapor treatment to administer to Kara as she was fitting, and it takes about 3 minutes for the medicine to kick in, and you'll see her here, she's jumping up and she's off to her normal self. But personally, what I've seen with this family as I've gotten to know them more is I've seen a quality of life not only for Kara but for Mark and Christy. You know, the amount of time and energy that goes into caring for a special needs child is exhausting, and many times they're a prisoner of their own home taking care of their daughter's needs. So it's been really great to see them able to use cannabis medicine, to see Kara's quality of life change, and to see Mark and Christy actually go out with us on the weekends and enjoy their time with us as Kara is at home with her caretakers, and they know that she's safe. So that's what I personally see within their family lifestyle, that it's given a better quality of life for everyone. And I also see within Kara during social times, Kara's engagement and her wanting to engage with us socially. And so I have definitely seen the change in her, and I would just encourage anybody that has a child with autism or a family member with autism to speak to the Zartlers and to get more information on how this medicine may help them. So now I want to talk about medical conditions approved in other states. And so you can see all of the ones that are highlighted right now are conditions that are not covered in Texas. Now, you know, and we all know that this is a low THC bill. These ones that we're seeing, these are high THC bills. And so there's a few on here, like terminal illness, that's highlighted at the end. That is covered underneath our cancer conditions. If you have terminal cancer, then you are approved, but if it's not terminal, you're not covered. So there are a few other ones that that may be included in some of the conditions, but I'm sure it's case by case. We want all these conditions covered. If it's in other states and that's the standard, we want those in our states too. So we'll continue to fight for these. And if you are a patient that has any of these conditions, come and find us. We need your testimony to show leaders. So. I haven't figured out this clicker yet. I'll get it. Okay, so we need your help, and how can you do that? You can join our community like you have here today and show up to our meetings. After 2 meetings, you're able to vote on our board, and so just keep coming, and we want you to share your testimonial with us. You can form an action team or join an action team, and so I'll explain a little bit what those are. So right now we have 2 objectives. We work heavily with the veterans community, and we're working with the medical community. Those are our main focus right now. But we want to work with everyone, and we want to work with all segments of patient outreach. But we're small and we're just starting. So what we encourage is for our members to join our team and to help us, and by forming an action team. So say that your interest is seniors. I really love seniors, and I want to do outreach for them and help them become their own medical advocate. And so you would approach us, you would tell us what you're working on, you would build your own team, your own schedule, your own events, and the board, you would come to the board, and we would support those objectives by showing up and setting up information tables or doing small presentations to help you on your event. So it's really based off of member participation, and so that's an action team. You can volunteer. We have plenty of volunteer opportunities within our chapter, and as we grow bigger, we're certainly going to need more hands. And you can donate to our cause. Like I mentioned, the GoFundMe campaign that highlights Kara and Mark's story is a great way, as well as you can go onto our website. Invite your friends to like our page. That helps us get a lot of followers quickly, so that's an easy way. And bringing your friend to the meetings. I think there's a few friends of friends in here today. So thank y'all for being good friends. Talking to your doctor about medical cannabis, talking to your community, people in your direct circle, your doctors, your pastors, your counselors, your neighbors, anybody that will listen. You can talk to them and write your leaders. So those are the ways that you can be. Here's our website up at the top, and you can view all of those patient testimonials on there. So as I mentioned, we are doing we are doing 2 strategy works right now. Our first initiative began on Veterans Day weekend, and we hosted our first event. It was our launch event, as well as a Veterans Day event that we co-hosted with FARM, which FARM stands for Farmers Assisting Returning Military. So that was our first exposure with the veteran community, and from that we walked into the VFW Post 6796. Here in the picture we have Commander Jerry Green, who is in the room with us today. And so we just have been really active in trying to form those relationships so we can help educate our veteran community and bring more services to them. So that includes doing event planning and volunteer work at the VFW Post 6796. As many of y'all have seen, we've started doing the Wednesday breakfast. We want to continue to do that to work the relationship with Commander Green. TSA board member Sherry Maddox, she just recently joined the VFW Auxiliary. Her father was a Vietnam veteran of 20 years, and so that will help us as well form some of those liaisons in the chapter. As I mentioned, Farmers Assisting Returning Military. Some of y'all went to that event with us. It's a 3.5-acre urban farm in downtown Dallas. They use that property to transition veterans into civilian life through their urban garden practices, and they have great resources there. We'll continue to work with them as well to bring more awareness to the community, to their community. We raised $8,000 for FARM on that event. Total we raised $11,000, and $3,000 of it went to the cost of the event. The other $8,000 was a check that we presented directly to FARM and their initiatives there at their property. Thank you. We also showed up in a small team to do Reefs Across America. We have another veteran in the room, Robert, that does a lot of activities there. So it was our first experience there. We hope to continue to do that in the following years, and want to have a big family to show up to be able to help. And those activities, we were really active on one of the days, the actual laying of the reefs, but it's a several day process to get ready for the event, to lay the reefs, and then there's a whole cleanup crew that comes up behind to clean it up. So they could definitely use more help. And our long-term strategy work is to educate veterans about this medicine. So that is our veteran community work. Our next initiative is medical education. And so can the medical professionals in the room raise their hands, please? So we have 4 nurses in here today. And we had a meeting back in late October, and it was a medical educator synopsis. And really what brought us together is the need and the desire to create cannabis education here in Texas that can be accepted by the Texas Nursing Board. Many of the educational programs that you can get are from out of state or are not specific to our Texas Compassionate Use program. And so it's really important for us to gather medical professionals to help educate them on the endocannabinoid system, on what the program is, and then for them to lead the way in helping educate other medical professionals in their circle, as well as joining us to help lead our leaders in legislation the right way when we're trying to expand this bill. So we feel that medical professionals are going to be the voice of the education. It's who a lot of the leaders want to see, and in many of in the sessions the last session, that was one of the comments that Senator Birdwell was the only physician that has ever come to the table to speak about this, and so we need to change that. So if you want to be a medical educator, or someone who wants to be, let us know. And so this is our annual calendar events. The annual calendar, the first dates, Memorial Day, Independence Day, Gold Star Mother's Day, and Veterans Day. Those are our set annual calendar events. Veterans Day will always be our flagship event, always leading up to that, but we hope to spend those event days either with the commander at the VFW or with FARM. So those will be our annual calendar events, and then you can see our chapter meetings. For the first 6 months of our time here, our meeting times are a little bit, a little bit flexible, and it's really because we are a new forming organization. After 6 months, our meeting times will be set, and so I really would love it to be on Saturdays at this time. The only time that we don't have a place here, because our groups are going to be too large, is the May meeting. So we'll probably do that off-site, somewhere fun. I'm not sure quite where yet, but it will be off-site. And so upcoming events. So we have a medical synopsis road trip with Dr. Sue Sisley and Dr. Olga Obi. Many of y'all know Dr. Sue Sisley. She's very well known in our community, and she's also leading research at Scottsdale Institute for, I believe, is it PTSD? Pain management. Traumatic brain, TMI. Hopefully TMI will get approved as well. So TBI. What did I say? TBI. I thought that's what it is. So anyways, Dr. Sue Sisley is a great leader for us, and Dr. Olga Obi is on our board. She's one of our board physicians, and she'll be joining us on that. Those dates are the January the 27th through the 30th. We'll hit up Plano first, Houston, Austin, El Paso, and then you can see these location details. Those event invites should be sent out by the end of next week. We're still in the middle of drafting them, but definitely save the date, and we would love for y'all to join us. So that's all we have as far as upcoming events, other than our monthly meetings and those annual calendar events. And that's all I have for y'all. So. Thank y'all so much. So I'll just leave it open real quick for some Q&A. I may not be able to answer your questions, so I may pull other people up if anybody has any questions. Yes?
My father is a Vietnam veteran, and he's having a lot of problems with PTSD. 3 tours, 30 years, military. He's at Fort Rucker. He says he cannot use cannabis or he'll lose all his benefits. I talked to Mr. Robert Ed last Saturday night. He said, huh? No, I didn't. It's okay. That's why I'm here. I would like to speak to the commander and anybody else, because my brother is currently a flight instructor, and all his friends have PTSD from Syria, Afghanistan, and they're drinking like crazy. Yeah. And they're getting DUIs. They're telling me, I can't use cannabis. And I know, I trust you guys. I know that you can. And I'm gonna go. We're taking a trip to Kentucky, and then I'm gonna take a trip to Alabama, trying to get them to use cannabis.
Yeah, I mean, PTSD is the biggest reason that we're engaging with our veterans. We believe it should be covered as a condition, and we fought hard for it last session, and it wasn't approved. Many of y'all know what happened during the committee hearings, what was said about veterans and the use of cannabis that related to suicides, which was unfair. So, we just have to educate and change that. We have to host events that are educational, and we have to educate the veteran community more on what the medicine is. And so, we're hoping that through our relationships with the VFW and with BAR, we're able to create community events that do just that. And some of those conversations have been around a health and wellness expos, bringing resources directly to the veterans and information to help them make a better choice about living holistically and being more in control of their medical health care. So that education comes with our medical professionals that would be talking about it exclusively, and then as well as our community that provides a very gentle bridge with other groups to help bridge that gap of understanding.
Good. So I'm
but actually, to answer, so technically it is not federally legal. Technically, the VA does not condone cannabis use. So to answer your question, no, they may actually lose their benefits through the VA if they.
Yeah.
They won't. They've already stated the VA has stated that they will not. They don't care about your cannabis use. It's got nothing to do with it. I have a webpage for that.
You do.
So I can send it to you if you more than like to see you have it. You'll get that question all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I think that these are the type of topics that we can bring together. We have so many people interested in veterans, and so it would be, an open invitation. Can we do an open invitation to the VFW one night to meet and just sit down at a round table and discuss this? But, you know, I do think that within our groups that we can have those questions answered and we can have more solves, but it's going to take us all coming down and sitting at the table to try and find some common ground, because unfortunately there's still a disconnect in what the medicine actually is. People need to see videos like the Zartlers to understand it, and especially our older generation needs to see that because they're our voting power. And so absolutely, we need to create open conversation and dialogue to be able to bring the different patient groups together to make real solutions. So, David, did you have a question?
Kind of, but
Okay.
kind of like more of maybe a potential suggestion
Sure.
for TSA. I was looking on the site the other day, and I wanted to make a donation, but I wanted it to be a recurring
Yeah.
monthly donation, and I wanted to see if maybe that was something potentially in the future that you guys can open up for
Well,
people
thank
to.
you for your interest in donating.
The other thing was, and it kind of correlates to somewhat of what's being discussed here, is can TSA like keep their news feed updated, because like obviously you know we promote a lot of information and stuff out there, and if TSA was keeping updated on their news feed, that would allow people like us to go and constantly keep TSA out there in the forefront as
Yeah.
far as news being updated.
Yeah, well,
to
one
the
thing
community.
I didn't mention is that we are a medical only organization. So this kind of falls into place of like what we choose to share online and not. Part of the founding board members, how we created this organization was to be patient focused forward. We have so many other groups that are pushing action, calls to action, and voter registration, and so on. And we feel that message gets diluted after it continuously is reposted and reposted. And a lot of y'all know in here that this movement is really on Facebook and on social media. So really what the founding board members decided is that we wanted to stay in our lane by being patient focused forward. And so what we do is we do that through community events, through stuff like, events like this, and really just highlighting the patient's stories. As far as newsfeed goes, we just simply don't support any type of the political actions. That work is done in private with our leaders, with a lot of the lobbyists and lawmakers that are looking for guidance on how to expand this program. But for a actual boots on ground, working at the Capitol, we will do that in a very private manner with our chapter. We won't have an active presence in the way that other chapters have had in the past. So newsfeed, we keep up with our day-to-day or weekly, activities if we're out or whatever. But when it comes to more of that call to actions, we're really going to rely on some of those other affiliate organizations to lead, because they've been doing it for a long time and we trust them. And we're just going to really focus on making sure that the patient stories get brought to the public. And so that's really where our main focus is. Patient testimonials are the life of this organization. We need more. There's several people in this room that have done testimonials. Can those people raise their hand if they've done testimonials for our? Yeah. So we need more. We need the conditions that aren't covered. All of those highlighted ones. Let me go back to our screen.
So that's kind of what I meant by as far as like kind of trying to keep the news feed updated with medical information, from
Yeah.
like peer reviews to other states that have medical programs that
Sure.
are going on, that are putting out that information that we can then funnel that through our network
Yeah.
here.
I mean,
and
I
like
wish, to
use
be honest,
that as leverage to.
we just don't have the power yet to do that. We don't have the bandwidth, whatever the word is. If somebody wants to join us as a volunteer to help us generate some of that, we would love that. But as of right now, we just don't have the additional support to cover the news like that.
Gotcha.
It's a bit of a hard job.
It is. I mean, social media, anybody that's on the social media game knows it's a hard job, from collecting posts to the pictures to the collateral to editing the videos. It's a full-time job. So
And more than just that, it's about the whole staying in your lane idea is really important.
Yeah.
To keep our mission tight,
Yeah.
And so it's difficult to produce a lot of content and be sure that you're keeping your focus. You know what I
Right.
mean? It becomes tricky.
yeah, so that's why we set those standards. They're tough. We've set some hard bylaws for our chapter to operate underneath, and it's really so we don't dilute our message. And as we're going into the legislative session in 2021, we just want to make sure that we are giving the information to patients, such as the CURT of how to access that program, how to get into the program. Those types of things are more important to us as a chapter than some of the other call to actions that the other groups have us do. And those are still very important. And we believe everybody's conversation in this piece is important, but one piece that was missing was the patient's voice, and that's why we chose to bring this organization and to put our feet strictly in to the patient's voice.
And frankly, on social media and cannabis organizations and cannabis groups, so much of the information is redundant. I mean, it's just the same
You'll get
articles.
8 posts of the same information, and so we just wanted to do it differently, and we're hoping it works. We care about patients, and we just want to make sure that everybody's represented in this conversation. Any other questions? No? Okay. Well, thank y'all so much for coming. Christy, I see you.
I was just gonna talk about the passing of the hat,
Yeah?
and, okay,
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna leave.
I
the
know,
hat
wish we
over
could,
here.
because of this, again, I want to talk about this facility just a little bit because I love this facility. And this is rare for our movement is to host it in something like this. So I, just want us to set the standards of what this organization is and play right on this facility. No smoking, no usage on this facility, and we don't support any type of recreational activity on here. So just, be conservative and then we will never get kicked out. So we want to continue to host here. It's a beautiful facility and it's free to us. Everything that you see in this room, from the AV equipment to the beverages, is provided free to 501c3s, and so we're really happy to be here. Thank y'all so much for coming. Visit with each other, get to know each other. Veterans, y'all mingle and tell me what y'all want to do, and I'm ready to meet when y'all are. So thank y'all so much again, and looking forward to the next meeting.
Woo!